followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello, very good evening to you. Here's your latest GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst we are going to have a largely clear night tonight, we are going to see a bit of a change in our weather as we go through this weekend. That's because the high pressure that's been firmly in control of our weather through recent days does start to drift away towards the east, but for the time being it is still mostly dry. The exception being across the far north of Scotland, where there's a front lingering here bringing some cloud and a bit of rain. Elsewhere, lots of clear skies, and under these clear skies a few pockets of mist and fog, particularly towards the east, and again we could see temperatures dropping a fair bit. Perhaps not quite as chilly as some recent nights, but nonetheless a touch of frost is possible in some prone rural spots. So a fresh start to tomorrow morning, but also a bright sunny one for many places, the exception being again the far north of Scotland, Shetland, seeing some rain first thing. Otherwise though, across much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, a good deal of bright sunny weather to start the day, and it's a similar story across much of England and Wales. However, towards the southwest, here we're quite quickly going to see some cloud and some showery rain feeding its way in. Now these showers are going to push their way northeastwards as we go through the day, initially across just really Devon and Cornwall and the southwestern tip of Wales, but they are going to become more widespread as we head into the afternoon. Some of these showers as well could be a little bit on the heavy side, particularly across parts of Wales and the southwest. Elsewhere, further north and east, a lot of dry and sunny weather, and temperatures, well, still in the low 20s, so feeling pretty warm indeed, but fresher from the west. More showery rain then pushes across most parts as we go overnight into Sunday. A lot of that then clears away towards the east through Sunday itself, but there will be a scattering of showers following in behind, albeit with some bright or sunny spells in between. More changeable weather to come as we go through next week. There will be some rain pushing through, and it could be a little bit heavy, perhaps even thundery at times as well. Bye-bye.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
The latest GB News Travel.
Good evening, I'm Nick Arkell. The M1 southbound is queuing with a 4-car collision junction 14 to 13 near Milton Keynes. Just a one lane closed but very busy. It's all in the outside lane. The anti-clockwise M25 is backing up with the recovery of a lorry that was on fire earlier. Junction 15 to 12 still queuing, 2 lanes closed. It's queuing on the M5 northbound where there was a broken down vehicle, junction 8 through 7 near Worcester. M6 northbound busy with an oil spillage. Stafford services to junction 15 near Stoke as well. Long delays with the lane closure. The M62 eastbound, junction 22 to 23 is looking busy, queuing with a collision near Huddersfield, closing 1 lane.
You can stay up to date throughout the day by visiting our website gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be driving away with this brand new Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. It comfortably sleeps 4, comes with sky roof, integrated kitchen and bathroom, and is worth over £67,000. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that wherever this motorhome takes you, it takes you there in style. For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
It's Patrick Christie's tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
The royal family is an enduring symbol of tradition, unity and pride for Britain. At GB News, we celebrate what makes this country great. In our new royal newsletter series, you can join me, Cameron Walker, for Inside the Palace, an exclusive look every week that takes you beyond the gates and brings you the very latest from those at the heart of the monarchy. Never miss a royal moment again. Sign up now. Go to gbnews.com/royal newsletter and get the latest straight to your inbox.
Welcome to Lee Anderson's Real World. Tonight on the show we have trade unionist Andy Twelves, former Tory Minister Heather Wheeler. We have David Worcester, a white van man delivery driver, and mental health advocate Anne-Marie Amor. But first, let's go to the news.
Very good evening to you. The top story tonight at 7 o'clock. The Prime Minister says that the government's move to take control of British Steel at Scunthorpe's plant is about keeping all options open as it tries to secure the site's future. Speaking ahead of tomorrow's emergency debate in Parliament, Sir Keir Starmer said legislation will allow ministers to take control of the plant and make sure all viable options stay on the table. He said the decision was necessary now, with talks over the long-term future expected to carry on for some time. Pressed on whether the move is effectively nationalisation, he didn't give a clear yes or no, but said it is about acting now to protect jobs and production. He also didn't confirm how much the plan would cost or why similar action wasn't taken to save Port Talbot Steelworks. In politics tonight, Michael Gove is heading for the House of Lords, topping a list of politicians named in Rishi Sunak's resignation honours. The former cabinet minister, who served under 4 prime ministers, joins a wave of people rewarded as Sunak exits from the political stage. Also, former Chancellor Jeremy Hunt and ex-Foreign Secretary James Cleverly, they have both received knighthoods. And peerages go to former Chief Whip Simon Hart and ex-Scottish Secretary Sir Alistair Jack. That's despite Jack's involvement in a row over betting on the election date, which he denies breached any rules. The White House says President Trump remains undeterred in his mission to make America wealthy again, defending his sweeping tariffs as essential to reversing decades of failed trade policy. But markets remain uneasy, with US stocks opening slightly down today as China hit back with a 125% import tax on American goods. That follows Trump's 145% levy on Chinese imports. President Xi has urged the EU to stand with China against what he described as US bullying, warning there are no winners in a tariff war. Trump, meanwhile, insists the US is doing really well and says the policy is moving along quickly. And perhaps my favourite story of the day, salmon on anxiety medication. Yes, you heard that right. Could be taking life a little too lightly, according to a new study that says the fish are getting more reckless in polluted waterways. Researchers found that traces of a drug used to treat anxiety in humans is ending up in rivers and changed how salmon behave. Instead of sticking with their shoals, the medicated fish wandered off solo and even leapt straight into hydroelectric plants without hesitation. The study, published in Science, saw salmon exposed to the same level of drug found in contaminated water. And scientists say the findings are a worrying sign of how human medication could be disrupting life beneath the surface. Excuse me, those are the latest headlines. I'll be back with you at the top of the hour. Now, though, let's get back to Lee.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Welcome to Lee Anderson's Real World. I'm Lee Anderson, the Reform UK Member of Parliament for Ashfield, and joining me tonight is a first former Tory Minister, Heather Wheeler, great lady by the way, and he's back, our left in the corner, Andy Twelves. And Andrew, I have a big bone to pick with you. You recently did a op-ed in a national newspaper saying I had betrayed the very people that put me into Parliament. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Go on and explain yourself,
I think,
Andrew. You've got a minute.
I think the Reform UK caucus voting against the Employment Rights Bill is a betrayal of the working class, because this is, what will strengthen working class rights at work. Banning zero-hour contracts, banning fire and rehire, strengthening menopause rights, strengthening paternity and maternity leave. All these things directly increase the working class rights at work and just make their life better.
So how come I'm currently polling then, Andrew, in my constituency at 52%?
I think because the opposition's pretty poor.
Are you saying my voters are stupid?
No, I think, the Ashfield independents are a mess, and I think the Labour Party haven't put forward a decent enough candidate to combat you.
Oh.
And, God forget about the Tories. I think, honestly, if you had some real opposition in Ashfield, your polling might take a hit, it might not.
So Andrew said that the previous Labour candidate in Ashfield was no good. I just think the Labour Party is no good, full stop. I think the people of Ashfield back me. But it's not all about me, Heather. It's about the Employment Rights Bill. And I go to businesses every single week. I was at one this week in Ashfield, and they say it's a disaster.
It's an absolute disaster. When you're looking at not just the smaller companies, but the bigger ones as well. Largest employer in South Derbyshire, Toyota. This is going to cost hundreds of thousands of pounds. And at the minute, with everything going on in the world, the auto industry does not need this. It really does not.
You talk about, betraying the caucus vote, the working class vote, etc., Andrew. What about this current Labour government? We've got a coal mine up in Cumbria, which could be opened, and they put the kibosh on that. That was 600 jobs paying £60,000 to £70,000 a year. We shut in blast furnaces left, right and centre. We've got British Steel on its knees at the moment, up in Scunthorpe, another 3,000 jobs and thousands of jobs in the supply chain. Are you telling me that this Labour government is on side with the British worker?
I mean, there's lots of things there to address. About British Steel, that's been going on for decades. British Steel has been declining.
But Labour's in government now, Andrew.
And, what do you want them to do? Nationalise it? You're taking on a loss-making industry. How are you going to continue protecting that industry? Right. That was the reason they shut the mines in the 80s. I disagreed with that then because there was no transition plan. But the focus on British Steel should be to reskill these workers into industries where they will have
and close the steel industry down? Is that what you really want?
It's a loss-making industry. You can't expect the government to take it on.
So you're not on the side of the British
I'm not on the side of nationalisation because it's not a sensible policy.
Ever?
I think we've just heard something unbelievable. A union man that's not in favour of nationalisation. That's incredible.
The unions aren't in favour of nationalising the steel. Only the GMB is. Only the GMB is. Unite our community on...
you said your piece. Let Heather have
unions aren't in favour of nationalising steel.
Go on, Heather.
Well, we're looking to the future, aren't we? We're looking to HS2 getting built. That should be British Steel building that. We're looking at the extra bridge that's going to go over the Thames. It should be British Steel building that.
And this new theme park.
The new theme park in Bedford, absolutely incredible. You can't have rides without steel. And it's the whole point of the Americans coming here is because they want the British experience. Are they going to be happy with Chinese steel? It's incredible.
I wouldn't have thought so. It makes a good point there, Heather. These people investing in our country. We have the capability, or could have, to build enough steel to build HS2, to do this theme park, and all the extra infrastructure that's coming into our country. Yet we seem hell-bent on importing inferior steel from places like China.
It's not inferior. But steel is steel.
You're saying Chinese steel is better than British steel?
I'm saying that Chinese steel is the same as British steel. It's just not a loss-making industry. It's just not a loss-making industry. It's more damaging to those workers in Scunthorpe, those in Port Talbot, to nationalise and give them up in 2 years, give them a false sense of hope, rather than reskill and retrain them into future-proof industries. That's what the government should be doing.
This is a union man speaking like this.
The beauty of being a union man is your dues are going to come in, don't you? But when people are laid off, people don't have their money to pay their union dues. So it's a false economy, my friend.
So we've got a coal mine that could open, we've got steelworks that we could nationalise temporarily to get it back on its feet. Because once we lose our steel industry in this country, it's just a memory then, it's gone forever.
Absolutely. A brilliant lady up in Scunthorpe, Holly, that knows about the steel industry inside out, standing there at the front of the marches to save Scunthorpe Steel. And just people need to listen to people with real life experience.
The other day in the chamber, because earlier this week when there was a statement on the steelworks, our side of the chamber, Conservative MPs, Reform MPs, were talking about nationalising the steel industry to keep it open. And the other side of the chamber, the Labour, the union-supported Labour Party, weren't talking like that.
Well, life has gone upside down, hasn't it? But it is only a matter of, because it's a critical industry for our country. And I think you put that first.
Yeah. I know the unions, to be fair to them, have chipped in about oil drilling and gas drilling in the North Sea. They're quite happy to stick up for workers, which they should be doing. But they don't seem to be sticking up for our steelworkers, Andy.
I mean, you know, I think you said temporary nationalisation just a couple of minutes ago. Where are you going to get the money to nationalise it? I'd like to hear that from, I mean, who's your Treasury spokesperson? You know, where is Mel Stride, the Shadow Chancellor? Is Richard Tice your Treasury spokesperson?
Come on then, Andy. Let me just put this.
Where are you going to get the money? Where are you going to get the money to nationalise?
Are you going to listen?
Yeah,
Are you going to pay attention?
Yes.
Are you going to pay attention?
If you answer, yes.
Be quiet then. So, somebody was on the TV today spouting that it's going to cost £700,000 a day to subsidise British Steel, to nationalise. OK, 700,000. I suspect it's probably off that. But let's just say it's 700,000 a day. What's that? That's about £4 million, £5 million a week. There's plenty of money. There's hundreds of millions, if not billions, to put illegal migrants in hotel. There's billions of pounds to spend on foreign climate aid. There's billions of pounds to spend on GB Energy. The money is there, Andy.
I mean, GB Energy, surely you appreciate GB Energy as a nationalised industry of the UK.
Not,
surely you support that.
They're not going to produce any energy, are they?
No. I mean, they are. That's the point of it.
No, they're not. No.
That is the point of it, Lee. I mean, surely, you know, as a man of nationalisation like yourself, you support GB Energy.
Come on, then. You've got to go back on this.
I mean, the good news about the recent announcement of money going into Sizewell C, that's absolutely critical. At last, we've got to have a proper nuclear industry and beefing that up. Rolls-Royce have been screaming from the sidelines about the small modular reactors. And because of what Ed has been doing, the Green Ed, all been stopping. I'm sorry if I'm triggering.
Oh, dear.
But,
have a drink of this,
have a drink. Good idea. But we've absolutely got to work out where we want to be as a country. And that amazing industry, the nuclear industry, that's where we want to be putting our money.
Yeah.
The British Energy, apart from the fact that it's going to be based, outside of London, which is a good news, but it's nonsense.
I won't remember 1990. Was you born then, 1997, when the Labour Party government said there was no economic case for nuclear power in this country?
Didn't David Cameron say the same in 2010?
What a mistake that was, Heather.
David Cameron said the same in 2010.
Can you stop being rude, Andy? Heather's trying to speak here, please. Hey.
I'll wait for my turn. Lee.
Thank you very much, Andrew. It's crucial that we get that going again. I was a trade envoy, and it was really interesting. Countries were queuing up to buy our small modular reactors, but they needed to see 2 or 3 of them going in the UK already, and then the sales from that would be huge.
Yeah, and just this week again, like I said, Heather, I went to a business. And the electricity bill alone for this business employed 250 people, absolutely crippling this firm. Yeah. Combine that with the national insurance rise. Yeah. The minimum wage rise and
their business rates going up.
And business rates going up. They're saying they could not be it might not be in 3 years' time.
It really is very, very sad. A lot of the hospitality trades, cafes that you think are going really, really well, because of the electricity, because of NICs and the business rates, absolutely hammered.
What would you say right now then, Andy, to the hospitality industry to give them hope?
Hospitality is a big industry. There's a big difference between mom and pop cafes and these massive employers who do exploit their workers. There is a massive difference between those two.
Well, let's talk about let's talk about places like this pub here and probably employs 5 or 6 part-time bar staff.
Sure.
Yeah. What sort of hope can you give them?
I think hospitality VAT should be cut.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something I support massively. But the thing is, the Employment Rights Bill isn't designed to penalise bars like this, pubs like this, great establishments like this. These are these big chains that are exploiting 15, 16, 17-year-old students on 0-hour contracts, on fire and rehire, on minimum wage. Do you know what the apprenticeship wage is in this country, Lee? Yeah, £7.55. £7.55. And that's gone up from what? Do you know what I mean? Like, there has to be a serious conversation about the wages stagnation over the last 20 years in this country. And really, the Employment Rights Bill is going to make workers' lives better. Fundamentally, it will.
But Andy, you understand the reason why we've had wage stagnation?
Yeah, because it was your lot in government for 15 years.
Because we've had at least 2 more million people that come to the country.
Under your watch, Heather. Yeah, under your watch.
With the great abuse, when you're coming to university, you don't bring 5 dependents with you, for goodness sake.
It was under your watch, Heather. Well, you were at the border. You were at the border. You were there, stood, and you went, "Come on in, come on in." So I find it hypocritical.
In February, we changed it.
Go on, have to go back at it.
James cleverly changed it in February, and that's why the figures are going to be so remarkable.
February after what? 14 years.
You're a former Tory MP, and you was a good MP and a good minister. I know you was, and a colleague of mine. Why do you think it is then? I mean, Andy's wrote this article and had a pop at me, which he's entitled to do, but he's young. He'll grow out of it one day. But why is it that the Red Wall, in particular, the working class vote seems to be turning to Reform UK. Why is that?
I think there are two reasons. Absolutely left behind by Labour, completely ignored for so many years. We were just turning the ship round on the levelling up. The most amazing high street improvements in some of the northern towns that had been absolutely left behind. And some of our northern MPs were amazing, the energy that they had, but it was just too critical a time, and that was a shame.
Yeah, I mean, the levelling up thing, I sort of half agreed with it, Heather.
You had tons of money.
Record amounts of money.
Absolutely.
But now we've got shiny new buildings. I went to one a few weeks back. Great what they've done to it, but it's empty.
Really?
Yeah, and it's empty. And I think, you know what? You could have spent that 2 or 3 million on that pothole-ridden road that runs at the side of it, Andy.
Yeah, I agree. I think levelling up was a great idea.
Yeah,
I think
it's a good idea.
The money, the investment, I can't criticise. It was the ring fencing of the money, where you go, oh well, it's towards a new council building. In Mansfield, for example, they're building a new council house, council building.
Thanks, guys. Coming up after the break, we've got White Van Man David Worcester.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, weekdays from 9 p.m.
Do you think that this Meghan Markle lifestyle range is really going to fly off the shelves? Do people want her very expensive look?
OK, so I'm going to caveat my answer with the fact that I do think Meghan has really, really good style. I don't think anybody is debating that. She always looks incredible. She wears amazing clothes. She knows how to put herself together. Will that translate into sales? Well, I think you've just hit the nail on the head. And by the way, I think you have an amazing future in TV sales beckoning for you.
It's frankly probably my only future, actually, Amber. I think it's probably my only future. But carry on.
I mean, the question is, they're very, very expensive clothes, aren't they? I mean, I had a little trawl through as well, you know, just in case I wanted to buy something. I think the cheapest thing I could find was a pair of £120 J. Crew white linen trousers. It's not just the fact that this stuff is really expensive, but who is dressing head to toe in white every day? The clothes that she's chosen as well are just not the clothes that mere mortals wear. I mean, look, there she is in the kitchen, she's cooking up a storm. Who's wearing all white?
Who is this actually aimed at? It's not mums in a rush, is it? It's not some poor single mum in Basingstoke who's got 2 screaming kids, and you know that all of us, you know, look at the stuff that she's churning out there. And by the way, what is not her home and with no children in sight. I mean, who is this clothing range for?
I have absolutely no idea. It's not me. It's not anyone I know. It's fascinating that I mean, if you're going to launch any brand, the first thing you do is ask, who's my customer? Who's my audience? They clearly haven't got a clue. Nobody needs to know how to make their own tea bags. Nobody.
No, and also, stop sprinkling flowers on stuff. Stop it. No one does that.
GB News, the People's Channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Lee Anderson's Real World. We're now going to talk to some real people from the real world. We've got David Worcester, white van man, delivery driver. You're a real person.
I am.
Living and working in the real world. Small businesses over the past 6 or 7 months are contacting me on almost a daily basis now, saying they're struggling with their small business due to the changes in the budget. They're worried about the future with the electric vehicles coming in, the net zero targets and stuff like that. How's it affecting you?
Well, over the last few years, I mean, prior to this legislation being changed, you know, we had the low emission vehicles that we needed, so I've had to upgrade vehicles at that stage. So that was a few years back.
Okay.
Then we've had the lockdown, so it has affected me cost-wise massively, because I've had to update vehicles in order not to get the big charges every day. And obviously, when you're driving commercially every day in and around.
So when you say you're updating your vehicles, what are you actually doing?
So I need to have a Euro 6 emission class vehicle. So I now have to put AdBlue in my van. The vehicle gives out less emissions, but obviously these are modern vehicles, they're a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
When I first started putting AdBlue in, it was very cheap, but now it's 3 times the cost.
Oh dear.
So
I have to put that in my car. I've got a diesel engine. I put that AdBlue in.
Have you noticed the cost has risen from say £12 for a big tub up to say 30 odd?
You know what, mate? When I first got my car, I didn't even know you had to put AdBlue in. It wasn't until the light came up on the dash one day, add AdBlue. So I'm straight on my phone, Google what's AdBlue.
And you've worked it out.
I've worked it out now, and I just go and buy a big bag of it from local garage. But to be honest, I've not took much notice of the price. But it was, I think it does exempt you though from some of the charges, don't it? When you go through?
It does, yeah. Which is why I've had to do it. I mean, if you work it out, you could either pay, transport for London or whoever it is that you're paying these costs to, or you can invest it into a newer, more modern.
But there is this 2030 vehicle exclusion for trade vehicles. That's well intentioned, but does it go far enough?
Yes and no. I don't think the technology is there yet for me to move across to electric. Yeah. So, for example, if I was asked to go to Newcastle to deliver items, it would instead of doing it in a day, which you could safely do within your driver's hours, you'd have to overlap. You'd be there 2 days getting back.
So all these net zero targets, I mean, we see some of these bigger companies, your Amazons and whatever. I went to one recently. They seem to cope all right because they're big enough to absorb the costs.
Well, they've got the money to invest.
Exactly. I mean, I've got an Amazon in my constituency, and I mean, it must be bigger than 2 or 3 football pitches, the actual factory or the unit. But on the roof, that's one solid solar panel, more or less. Okay. So that provides enough electric for the whole factory.
And it generates...
And the charging points for the vehicles you use as well, it does all that.
But a small business... How many millions have they invested to get this system in place?
Indeed. But a small business, one-man trader or an SME, how do they cope?
I mean, I live in a house, I don't have off-street parking. I'm a van driver.
Yeah.
In order for me to have that van, I'd need to charge it overnight. If I don't have my own power point, it costs 3 times the electricity charge.
Well, that's a good point. I was talking to somebody just this week about this, that they live on a terrace street, so they can't have the proper charging points. Yeah. They have to go somewhere else to charge it up, and therefore pay more for the electricity.
It's 3 times the cost. So when you work it out, if you don't have off-street parking and your own charging point, the costs for electric and petrol running costs are roughly the same.
So there's no point then?
Well, there is if you have off-street parking, you're privileged enough to have that facility. Yeah. So, it works for some people. But even so, like I said, it's the range of these vehicles.
Yeah.
One of Britain's most popular vans, the Transit, the new electric, they say that you get a 200-mile range. That's an optimum condition.
That's if they're empty.
If I put my load on, I'll get 100 miles. Yeah. So I'll get to Birmingham from London and I have to recharge. I've got to sit there for an hour.
So are you a fan of net zero?
I think it's a good idea in principle. But I believe that the way the governments, it's not only our government, it's other governments across the world.
Yeah.
They're pushing this thing and it's creating a lot of problems. Car manufacturers, they do all these calculations. They know that this is causing problems.
And has there been a dip recently, do you think, in the sale of EVs?
I wouldn't know. I know there's been a dip generally in the economy because when I'm driving around, as I do every day, I see that the traffic's calmer, it's quieter, there's less people out. I think that might be a good indicator of the economy.
Yeah, I noticed. I went to a garage a few weeks back, just to have a nosy round looking at cars and that, and I noticed how many electric vehicles were there, and
they're stacking up on the forecourt.
They're stacking up on the forecourt, and I thought, you know what? Last year I went for a nosy round. There was hardly any. Now they've got a full line of EVs there. Yeah. People are obviously getting rid of these for some reason, aren't they?
Mm. Well, I mean, it's also the second-hand values.
Yeah.
So if you buy one brand new, all of a sudden you're walking into a 10, 15, 20,000 pound loss over the period of 12 or 18 months, which for someone like me is a massive hit. I couldn't afford to sustain that sort of cost.
And I think
on
the batteries cost a fortune, don't they?
If they go wrong, they do wear out after a period of time, maybe 5, 6, 7 years, which is why the resales people.
Well, that's rather depressing. But let's talk about some good news
coming up.
It says here that your dad was a local mayor.
He was, for a period of time.
Yeah, and he's defected to Reform UK. Sensible man.
He certainly has. He's like yourself, Lee. Yes,
very sensible. And what's he doing at the moment? Then is he out there campaigning?
He's not actually canvassing anymore.
Okay.
He's not doing that. He's an older man now. You know. His political career has finished.
Very good news. But yeah, I mean, let's go back to small businesses, David. They are struggling at the moment, and we've seen recent changes in the budget, recent legislative changes with the Employment Rights Bill. And
National Insurance has gone up.
National Insurance has gone up. Yeah, tell me about how's that affecting your business?
Well, a few years ago I had a number of vehicles and I employed people. Now it's just not feasible. It's just you're adding stress to your workload. You've got lots of paperwork to deal with, all the added costs. It's just not feasible, and then the work isn't increasing as you'd expect.
Well, David, good luck with the future, with your business. Send my regards to your dad. He sounds like a very sensible reformer. Thanks for coming on.
Lovely to
Coming up next, we've got right versus left. You won't want to miss this one.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's time for Right versus Left, and we've got Heather Wheeler and Andy Twelves. in the first part of the show, it got a bit heated, got a bit feisty. I'm here, I'm ready to leap on the pair of you if it starts getting a little bit too aggressive, but I'm sure my money's on Heather anyway, Andy. Look, again, small boats, record arrivals, Heather's, I think 7,000 alone this year, 31,000 since Sir Keir Starmer famously said he was going to smash the gangs. Not only is it a drain on the public purse, not only is it embarrassing with the laughingstock of the world, but we're now seeing gangs and gangs of these illegal migrants posing as asylum seekers, roaming around small villages, towns and hamlets, causing mayhem, upsetting people. This nonsense surely must stop.
It is very, very regretful. When you see perfectly nice hotels, lock, stock and barrel being taken over, it completely changes the village. All the subsidiary businesses that were involved with that hotel, the staff indeed, they're all gone. Yeah. All gone. I mean, it is a major, major change. And you almost think, I know Labour want to change our country, but surely that's not what they wanted to start doing. It's just the most bizarre thing. I mean, it's terrible.
And of course, you know, we were part of it in the last Parliament. When the migrants first started coming over on boats, you know, we was told by the Home Secretary at the time that we're putting them in hotels because of COVID to isolate.
Well, it's just huge numbers, and you've got to because people don't want the houses in the local area going because, you know, people are on housing waiting lists, and we've just seen the latest list that if you live in certain parts of London, you can wait 100 years for a family house.
Well, you're not going to get one, are you?
No. No, so, I mean, fortunately, South Derbyshire, when it was Conservative run, we built council houses and we stock retained. So we're very proud of that.
So this is the fear, Andy, isn't it? Now we're seeing Angela Rayner in the Chamber making noises and the front bench saying that some of these new houses that are being built will go to these illegal migrants.
Well, possibly. I mean...
Is that right?
I mean, you'd have to ask. I trust Angela Rayner on that. I think
What's your opinion? Angela Rayner's not here to defend herself. Would you put these illegal migrants in social housing?
No. No, I think social housing should be for British citizens.
So where should they go then?
So, I mean, I tried to stop them coming here in the first place. I think legitimate asylum seekers should come.
You tried to stop them?
I tried to, yeah. I tried.
What did you do?
Well, you know, if I had the answers, I'd be working for the Home Office.
Spout off on Twitter or something like that. What did you actually do, Andy, to stop them coming?
I mean, I don't have the power, unlike a former Tory MP, a current Reform UK MP. I mean, Heather was a member of the government. I'd be questioning her a bit more directly.
Come on, then, Heather. He's questioning you.
Well, that's okay. I don't mind that at all. One of the things that's really difficult is that we always obey the laws. So the laws of the sea are absolutely sacrosanct. If there's a boat coming here and if it's in danger, then we go out to help it. It's got to the stage now where the supposed deal we've now got with France is that the French boats will escort them back to the beach. But they don't seem to be doing that. No. So we need to have another look about what our contract with France is.
I think what we need to do, Agent, I've said it, you was there when I was saying it 4 or 5 years ago in the Chamber, is pick them up, take them straight back to France the same day, Andy. Well, and when some of these politicians, let's be honest, when they're banging on about our international obligations and international law, I'll tell you what, Andy, there's nobody in my constituency in Ashfield that lies awake at night worrying about international law. They want these illegal migrants gone.
Well, I'm sure they don't. But I'm sure there are people in Ashfield that don't want the UK breaking international law and our politicians being international criminals. That's not what we expect from a government. And you just can't say, oh well, bin off the international law. That's not how. It's not how the world works. Of course. I mean, how would Reform do it? Just bin off international law?
Yeah.
Just bang it off?
Yeah, just leave the ECHR and take them back.
Okay, and what would happen to the Good Friday Agreement, Lee?
Well, that's a different conversation.
Well, no, because you can't just go ECHR.
No, we're talking about...
Do you want the IRA to return?
No,
do you want chaos on our streets?
No, Dan. This is always the argument you go back to. We're talking about illegal...
Because it's a bang-on argument.
We're talking about illegal migrants in small villages causing mayhem. They're committing crimes, they're shoplifting, they're thieving, they're hanging around schools, they're taking photos. We are giving this country away, Heather.
Well, that's why the Rwanda programme was so important. When you've got a deterrent... And we talked before about the nuclear deterrent. When you've got a deterrent, it stops people coming here. I mean, I have no problem with us doing a deal with other countries, whether it's Albania or whoever, and having sites there, like so many European countries now looking, particularly Italy, done deals with some of the North African countries. That's exactly what we ought to be doing, and that's what we were doing. Isn't it amazing how they're copying us now?
But is there an acknowledgement now, Andy? Because when this first started 4 or 5 years ago, that these were poor people fleeing wars and everything. Now, some of the Labour MPs are actually admitting that these people aren't genuine asylum seekers. They are just economic migrants.
Well, some of them are genuine asylum seekers, some of them are...
So why don't they claim
migrants.
asylum in France then, if they're genuine?
I mean,
why would you risk your death? Risking your life coming across a dangerous...
Well, and another £10,000.
Yeah, why would you do that if you can claim asylum in France or Belgium or Spain or Italy or Holland or...
A lot of these are in human trafficking rings. Like, let's not pretend that a lot of them are forced across.
No, they're not.
Their passports are confiscated by human traffickers. They're put to illegal work in this country.
People don't
so let's not denigrate human trafficking victims.
People do not sprint out into the sea to jump on a dinghy if they're being trafficked. They're people who want to come over as economic migrants.
I think
when was the last time
Reform never acknowledged the human trafficking angle of it. And I think
no, there is human trafficking, but they tend to come in the back of lives. I've been out to the camps in France, and these young lads were telling me quite clear that we're coming over El Dorado.
Yeah.
That was the word El Dorado they used?
Yeah, it's a lovely old-fashioned phrase, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it means everything. It is so difficult. We talked before about wage inflation and how, or stagnation rather, how for the last 20 years, if you were a painter decorator 20 years ago, you would have been on £14 an hour, and now you're lucky if you're on £20 an hour, just because of the huge influx that we've had. And you're quite right, we should have managed it better. I hold my hand up to that. I'm not going to shy away from that, but it's absolutely wrong that when we've got families in Syria, doctors, engineers, of course we want to welcome them. And there are ways to do that. Company-sponsored immigration, that's exactly what we ought to be doing, and not this.
I think if that first Rwanda flight would have gone off, I think if Rishi would have had the stones to say, ignore the ECHR, get that flight off the ground.
July the 24th.
Yeah,
in the tea room.
We
had the conversation about it.
Yeah, if you'd had the guts to do it, it'd have stopped by now.
To me,
massively reduced.
One of the most bizarre things for calling that early election.
Yeah.
And I just did not understand it when we knew we had the first flights going on July the 24th.
How would you stop them, Andy? The boats?
I'd have an accord with France that actually works. Stop them at France.
Do you think France wants to stop it?
I'd put, if there's anything we can learn from Trump, trade wars.
Trump stopped it, didn't he?
Trade wars are afoot. I'm sure people don't want economic
pretty
threats.
sharpish. Trump stopped it by 95%, I think, in the first week. We're going to start on the yes or no quiz. H, this is a first for you. Remember, he's quite good at this, Andy.
Okay.
Yes or no. There's no verbal ticks allowed, no stuttering, no ers, ahs.
Okay.
Yes or no. So the first question for you, H, is Donald Trump doing a good job?
Not today. So no.
Oh, dear. Could there be any plainer speaking with the roars? I can't give you that, is there?
No.
Andy?
No.
Was he a tick there?
No.
Is that 2 no's? Andy, should there be a government-backed public inquiry into the Pakistani rape gang scandal?
Yes.
Yes.
Will Starmer smash the gangs?
No.
Andy?
Yes.
He said that with a straight face as well. Andy, are Labour on the side of the British workers?
Yes.
Absolutely no. There you go.
Dear. Honestly. He's harder than what it looks, isn't it? Last question. Andy, will Rachel Reeves last the full term?
No.
Ooh. H.
No. Interesting.
Oh, dear. H, look, I love having you on, but that is the worst performance ever.
on a yes and a no?
On the yes or no quiz. Andy got 5, you got 2.
2 out of 5. Outrageous.
It's outrageous. You've let a young whippersnapper beat you.
I'm a seasoned veteran at this. I've done probably 7 or 8 of these now.
But let's come back on one, H. The first question, is Trump doing a good job?
Yeah, really difficult, isn't it? Because, to be fair, all the way through his election, he said he was going to use tariffs, Mr. Tariff. Nobody really believed that he would go so tonto on it. The markets dropped like a stone, and I think his backers got really, really itchy about it and very yippy, to use his phrase. I had to explain to somebody this morning what yippy meant, but anyway, golf, and you get the yips.
Yeah.
And so as a golfer, you'd know that. But it's just bizarre. So his 90-day, I think, is about saving face.
Yeah.
And for once, Starmer, encouraged obviously by the Conservative front bench, has not put alternative tariffs on. You can't win in a tariff war.
See, I've said it a couple of times this week on this show. I was at a business this week who supply medical. They're making medical equipment, and they supply a lot to Europe, America, Central, North America, all over the world. And they're now getting phone calls from the US for extra orders because of the tariffs on China, etc. But what they're worried about, Andy, is that China will have a lot of stock of goods, products that they've got to dump somewhere. And what they're saying to us is the British government now have got to step up and do something to stop China dumping all their goods in this country.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But with Trump, it's just, who knows what he's doing? I mean, even Elon Musk, one of his most loyal lieutenants, called his his tariff guru a moron. So it's that feeling where the worst person you know gets a good take. And I was sad to agree with Elon Musk, but I mean, it's just this is his Liz Truss moment. I mean, what is he doing?
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Trump, but
Are you not?
No. What Heather said is right. He did during the election campaign. He said he was going to bang loads of tariffs on. He's done what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to stop the illegal migration. He's pretty much done that. Now, he might not agree with the way he does things and the way he says things and the way he conducts himself, but his direction of travel seems to, most of the time, be pretty spot on. Coming up next, we've got Last Orders with Amory Amar.
Hello, very good evening to you. Here's your latest GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst we are going to have a largely clear night tonight, we are going to see a bit of a change in our weather as we go through this weekend. That's because the high pressure that's been firmly in control of our weather through recent days does start to drift away towards the east, but for the time being it is still mostly dry. The exception being across the far north of Scotland, where there's a front lingering here bringing some cloud and a bit of rain. Elsewhere, lots of clear skies, and under these clear skies a few pockets of mist and fog, particularly towards the east, and again we could see temperatures dropping a fair bit. Perhaps not quite as chilly as some recent nights, but nonetheless a touch of frost is possible in some prone rural spots. So a fresh start to tomorrow morning, but also a bright sunny one for many places, the exception being, again, the far north of Scotland, Shetland, seeing some rain first thing. Otherwise, though, across much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, a good deal of bright, sunny weather to start the day, and it's a similar story across much of England and Wales. However, towards the southwest, here we're quite quickly going to see some cloud and some showery rain feeding its way in. Now, these showers are going to push their way northeastwards as we go through the day, initially across just really Devon and Cornwall and the southwestern tip of Wales, but they are going to become more widespread as we head into the afternoon. Some of these showers as well could be a little bit on the heavy side, particularly across parts of Wales and the southwest. Elsewhere, further north and east, a lot of dry and sunny weather, and temperatures, well, still in the low 20s, so feeling pretty warm indeed, but fresher from the west. More showery rain then pushes across most parts as we go overnight into Sunday. A lot of that then clears away towards the east through Sunday itself, but there will be a scattering of showers following in behind, albeit with some bright or sunny spells in between. More changeable weather to come as we go through next week. There will be some rain pushing through, and it could be a little bit heavy, perhaps even thundery at times as well. Bye-bye.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is the nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries, all sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you've got holiday plans for Iberia, unfortunately there are spells of rain around at the moment and that will continue through the weekend. For Greece, however, it's mostly bright but with a keen breeze, and Italy's faring well on Saturday with plenty of sunny skies. A few showers dotted about through the Mediterranean, and then for Spain, as well as Portugal, Madeira and the Canary Islands, spells of rain and heavy showers are expected to continue through the weekend, staying sunny in Santorini.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's time for last orders at the bar. I've got Anne-Marie Amor, the founder of Outlet 10 Discussions Limited. This is a group set up in London to help people with mental health problems where they come and have a chat. Am I right on this, Anne-Marie?
Yeah, so we basically do different events in person. We've got live events and dating events, but it's all surrounded by mental health.
OK, so I'm going to ask a basic question. What's the point of all this?
Look, mental health is such a big topic. Yeah. It's not just one. There's many issues. Do we all have mental health?
Yeah. Do we all have bad days?
Of course, everybody have, bad days. But the reason I called it outlet discussion is that we all need an outlet. Once you've got that outlet, you should feel 10 out of 10. And it is discussion that we all need to have.
So it's a big problem now, mental health. I know we see a lot of it in my constituency. I think it's increased since COVID, especially with young people as well.
I agree. That's when I came up with the idea in COVID. So, yeah, I think I agree with you. From COVID, I think it has drastically, become
I've seen some alarming statistics, Anne-Marie, a few weeks back about how many young people between the ages of 16, I think it's 24, 25, are suffering with mental health. And they're signed off sick and they're not going to work. That's not a good thing, is it?
That's not a good thing. I mean, I remember 24, I was raring and ready to go. You're going to work, you got a job. But yeah, probably now, again, mental health. Everybody's got different issues based on, what they've been through. But I think now we are talking about it more than we used to.
I mean, but surely we all have good days. Like I said before, we all have bad days. We all have ups and downs, and we just work through it. A lot of us. And I'm a bit old school. I think some of the best therapy for depression, anxiety, or whatever is to get out there, go to work, have a routine, socialise, mix with people, go to your groups.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, coming to an event, everybody's talking. Each event is based on a topic, so you've got everybody in the same room that is, maybe, completed their journey or is going on that journey. Yeah. So it's kind of a support, again, speaking to people that is going through the same thing as you. Obviously, some people see it as an alternative to going to a therapist, for example. Yeah. Again, you're in a room, you're going through the same thing. Why not help each other?
So, I don't be flippant here, Anne-Marie, but you say you run dating events. If you've got a couple of misery guts turning up for a dating event, how does that work?
No, the dating events, they want to find love.
OK.
They want to find love. Again, it's all the swiping, the Hinge and, whatever else. This is more in person. Yeah. Again, people getting out, going out, speaking with people.
Yeah.
And again, you may find someone, you may find a friend, who knows?
And what about men? They face a lot of barriers because it's always, I think, more difficult for men to come and open up and discuss their feelings and stuff like that. It's much easier for that's not a sexist comment, by the way, but no. I think women just find it easier to talk.
Yeah, I think like when you're with your friends, your girlfriends, isn't it? You go out, have a drink, or when you're at work, you speak more about it. But yeah, men we do have, they do come to the events, very small number.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we can kind of cross the mark and, again, speak about mental health, that would be great.
See, I could never imagine a time in my life where I could go to my male friends and say, I'm suffering with my mental health. So they probably took the mickey out on me, laughed at me and said, get some beer down you.
Yeah.
That's good for your mental health. Not always, is it?
Not always.
No, it can be bad for your mental health. We're not sponsoring irresponsible drinking, by the way. But no, it is much tougher for men. And we see a lot of, in this country, male suicide is a big problem.
Yeah.
Biggest killer of men under the age of 50.
Yeah.
Today, between 12 and 15 men will take their lives. It'll be the same tomorrow, the day after. And we just can't get to the bottom of it, Anne-Marie.
No, that's what I mean. Again, if they were to come to an event, again, speaking with people that are going through the same thing as you, again, could save somebody's life.
So how many clients have you got on the books?
It depends on the topic. So, for example, our next event is in June. We've got Bobby Norris from Towie that is coming. June is the month of Pride. He's discussing, obviously, his journey from coming out, you know, experience that he's had trolling online and everything.
That's a bit controversial here, Anne-Marie. Some people may suggest, rightly or wrongly, that some people are playing the mental health card. It's the new bad bike. They're swinging the lead because simply they're just too bone idle to go to work.
I mean, yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Again, I think people.
How do you decide who's who?
You can't, isn't it? You take somebody at face value. Obviously, if there is a problem, obviously we do as much as we can to help them. But yeah, mental health, I mean, it's not fair to use that card when somebody's
It's big news. Mental health, big news. Some person who's not prepared to work or going to do a proper shift may just rock up to the doctors and say, you know what, I've got all these
going through this,
mental health problems and break down and put the tears on, rub a bit of Vicks under the eyes before they go in, and you signed off for 6 months and you've got loads of benefits.
Yeah, obviously we don't encourage that. We're trying to obviously...
I would hope not.
No, we're trying to obviously help people, again, based on what they're going through, whether it's, you know, suicide, taking a new turn in their life, if they've been, you know, divorced, that's the kind of route, and those are the
Well, I think,
people that we're trying to help.
I want to be brutally honest, Anne-Marie. I think the best prescription for mental health is to be active. Is to go out there, get a job, go out and socialise, do stuff. Get off that settee, put that Xbox down and go and mix in the real world.
Yeah. That's why we've got, you know, both things in person and online. Again, maybe people are not ready to kind of admit that they've got a problem or they're not quite there yet. Hence why we give both options until they get to the point where they can come to an event.
I think, like I said, we all have some mental health problems. I think we're all there, you know, we have really bad days and different pressures in life as well, you know, whether it's your job, whether it's your social life, whether it's relationships and stuff like that. But most of us are mentally strong enough to cope with it. But it's the ones that aren't quite strong enough that I think they're the ones that need our proper support.
I agree. And a big thing I say is who you've got around you also, you know, helps, whether it's, you know, family, friends. If you've kind of exited yourself out and you're, you know, alone, then it can be harder for you.
Right. We're behind a bar.
We are.
I know you like a drink because you told me. We're going to get you to pull a pint. If you get one of them coloured glasses there, please, Anne-Marie.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do the old neck oil. That's the easy one.
OK.
You've got 30
I like
seconds.
Neck oil.
You like neck oil, do you?
Yeah.
She's a drinker. And you've got 30 seconds to pull a pint. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, look at that. That was a firm wrist, Anne-Marie, weren't it? A firm wrist. It's looking a bit frothy, though, mate. And you can, as soon as it's plonked on the bar.
Oh, no, I'm embarrassed.
I think I need to come to one of your groups because that's depressing me.
We don't serve alcohol.
Well, it's probably a good thing, isn't it? You wouldn't sell many, would you?
No, well, not if it's me, no.
Yeah, so I think I want to give you a 5 out of 10 for that. It's not very good.
I mean, I was going to say I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm bang in the middle. But...
Yeah, I just want to find out now, how do people find out about your group? How long do they come for? Is it an ongoing thing? Is there a big cost to it?
So our events are £20. How it works is we've got an event, we have a guest speaker, again, based on what topic we're talking about. We have breaks in between, Q&A session, and you meet and greet with the speaker as well, again, to get support, any questions you might have on your journey, on your recovery.
And so how do people find out about your groups?
We're on socials, Instagram, TikTok, Outlet 10 Discussions Ltd, or you can visit the website, outlet10discussions.co.uk.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
I'm feeling happier already.
Good.
The only thing that's slightly depressing me and having an impact on my mental health.
I knew it.
Is that pint there. That's pathetic. Stick to your day job.
I will do.
And it's been lovely to meet you, Anne-Marie.
Thank you.
That's Last Orders with Anne-Marie Amor. Thanks for joining me on Lee Anderson's Real World. Been another great show with some really good guests. More of the same next week, but coming up next, we've got State of the Nation.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of Web on GB News.
Hello, very good evening to you. Here's your latest GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst we are going to have a largely clear night tonight, we are going to see a bit of a change in our weather as we go through this weekend. That's because the high pressure that's been firmly in control of our weather through recent days does start to drift away towards the east, but for the time being it is still mostly dry. The exception being across the far north of Scotland, where there's a front lingering here bringing some cloud and a bit of rain. Elsewhere, lots of clear skies, and under these clear skies a few pockets of mist and fog, particularly towards the east, and again we could see temperatures dropping a fair bit. Perhaps not quite as chilly as some recent nights, but nonetheless a touch of frost is possible in some prone rural spots. So a fresh start to tomorrow morning, but also a bright sunny one for many places, the exception being again the far north of Scotland, Shetland, seeing some rain first thing. Otherwise though, across much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, a good deal of bright sunny weather to start the day, and it's a similar story across much of England and Wales. However, towards the southwest, here we're quite quickly going to see some cloud and some showery rain feeding its way in. Now these showers are going to push their way northeastwards as we go through the day, initially across just really Devon and Cornwall and the southwestern tip of Wales, but they are going to become more widespread as we head into the afternoon. Some of these showers as well could be a little bit on the heavy side, particularly across parts of Wales and the southwest. Elsewhere, further north and east, a lot of dry and sunny weather, and temperatures, well, still in the low 20s, so feeling pretty warm indeed, but fresher from the west. More showery rain then pushes across most parts as we go overnight into Sunday. A lot of that then clears away towards the east through Sunday itself, but there will be a scattering of showers following in behind, albeit with some bright or sunny spells in between. More changeable weather to come as we go through next week. There will be some rain pushing through, and it could be a little bit heavy, perhaps even thundery at times as well. Bye-bye.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. Maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be driving away with this brand new Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. It comfortably sleeps 4, comes with sky roof, integrated kitchen and bathroom, and is worth over £67,000. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that wherever this motorhome takes you, it takes you there in style. For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232.